Edward Theodore Gein was born on August 27th in 1906. He was born to grocery store owners George and Augusta Gein. He had an older brother named Henry who was born in 1901. His father, George, was a very timid man who struggled with alcoholism. His mother, Augusta, was a religious fanatic that ruled their household with puritanical preachings about the sins of lust and the desires of the flesh. Which, saying this out loud, I think that's why Ed started to have this fascination with flesh. You want what you can't have, you know? But anyway, growing up, Ed was a shy kid. He had a lazy eye and a lesion on his tongue that affected his speech. This made him a target for bullies. When he would go home, his father would beat him for crying about it. During his entire childhood, Augusta was preaching the sins of the world, stating all women besides herself were prostitutes, and that the entire world was immoral and the evils of drinking. Augusta feared the outside world would tarnish her sons, so she discouraged any contact from outsiders to kind of prevent any outside influences on her children. Despite the verbal abuse, Ed idolized her. It said Henry, his older brother, found their relationship to be weird and would try to confront his mother about it. This caused a rift between the siblings, and around 1915, the family moved to Plainfield, and that is where they settled on a farm. All these years of preaching to Ed really paid off because he only left their home for school, spending all of his time at home on the farm and with his mother. So now we'll flash forward to when Ed is 34 years old. His father, George, dies of heart failure, his death only intensifying Ed's obsession with his mother. After his father's death, Henry starts to oppose his mother's views. Soon after, on May 16th, 1945, a brush fire occurs near the farm. Ed and Henry go to extinguish it, and only Ed will return. He states he lost his brother in the smoke, and Henry is later found with bruises to the head. Despite this, the coroner determines cause of death to be asphyxiation. Ed would finally have his mother all to himself, but not for long. Augusta would die from a stroke soon after on December 29th, 1945. After her death, Ed preserved her favorite rooms and isolated himself. Reading death cult magazines and adventure stories that involved cannibals and Nazi atrocities. He would support himself by odd jobs and selling over 80 acres of land. These 80 acres he had inherited from his brother Henry's death. In 1947, Ed starts visiting local cemeteries at night to rob the graves. Ed picking the graves of females who reminded him of his mother. In 1951, Victor Travis and Ray Burgess were hunting near Gein's property and mysteriously vanish, leaving nothing but their coats and a dog behind. 3 years later, in December of 1954, a bar owner named Mary Hogan mysteriously disappears. In November of 1957, Ed was suspected for robbing a hardware store along with the disappearance of the store's clerk, Bernice Warden. The cash and the register had been stolen, and a trail of blood had trailed to the back door. Ed had been the last customer and been seen loitering at the premises. This led to police inspecting the property. They were not ready for what they were about to find in Ed's shed. What at first was thought to be a deer carcass, they had actually stumbled upon the decapitated corpse of Bernice Warden, hanging upside down with ropes on her wrists and a crossbar at her ankles. It was later discovered she had been shot by rifle before the mutilations were initiated. The police then searched the house, finding human skulls used as bedposts, skull cereal bowls, lampshades made of skin, chairs upholstered in skin, socks made of flesh, and jars of organs. Ed was arrested on November 16th, 1957, for the death of Bernice. He is questioned about all the disturbing evidence around his home and admits to making almost 40 nightly visits to rob graves in local cemeteries. He states that he targeted the graves of recently buried middle-aged women for parts of their skin. He denies having intercourse with the bodies due to the smell and admits to killing Mary Hogan by shooting her in her bar and bringing her back to his home. He then recanted ever killing Mary Hogan. Her head was later found in a jar in his home. Ed admitted to using the women's skin to create a woman's suit out of human skin. His initial confession became inadmissible due to the Washura County Sheriff assaulting Ed by banging his head against a wall. Ed was found to be medically unfit to undergo trial due to being diagnosed with schizophrenia and was sent to several hospitals for the criminally insane. 10 years later, in 1968, he was declared mentally competent to undergo trial for the murder of Bernice Warden. The trial started November 7th and ended 7 days later on the 14th. The trial of Ed Gein would be heard without a jury, and Judge Robert Colmar would find him not guilty by reason of insanity. Ed would be sentenced to life imprisonment in the Mendota Mental Health Institute in Wisconsin. He died on July 26, 1984, at the age of 77 due to lung cancer. Staff that were interviewed after his death praised him for being friendly, pleasant, and cooperative. Alright, my dears. So that is it for our first part of a little true crime ASMR on my channel. I hope that you enjoyed it. And please let me know if you enjoy this switching back and forth between soft-spoken and whispering. Most of my videos follow what I am interested in at this time. And I love soft-spoken and I love close-up whispering. So I'm trying to combine everything to make one very relaxing and informative ASMR video for you. Good night, and I hope to see you again soon.